Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that shaped how they see life, offering you daily inspiration to navigate your own journey with more clarity and purpose. Today's guest is Andy Ide, a software engineer who married into a horse family and became an entrepreneur by simply listening. When his wife expressed frustration with keeping horse records, Andy didn't just nod along, he built Horse Records, a solution that's now helping equestrians worldwide. Let's hear from Andy about the code that guides his thoughtful approach to turning life's everyday problems into meaningful solutions. Tell us your name and what you do.
G'day, yeah, I'm Andy. I'm a software engineer. I run Horse Records, which is an online app for horse owners to record everything about their horses.
Okay. Thank you for accepting my invitation to be a guest on the podcast.
No worries, mate.
Yeah. What's your favorite quote, Andy?
My favorite quote is, "Success is a staircase, not an elevator."
Success is a staircase, not an elevator. Wow. What does that mean, Andy?
Well, I think it's come to me from a few decades of experience, but with a staircase, you take one step at a time and you get right to the top eventually. An elevator, you just press one button and get up. And what it is it's what the quote is about is the fact that society and media likes to train us that all we need to do is be discovered or have a quick win and we'll be successful. We need to win the lotto and we'll be successful. So you have these people doing high risk endeavors trying to get found and achieve success. But if you really want to achieve success, you need to be more conservative, and that's doing something every day that gets towards your goal. And yeah, okay, if you're doing that, taking a step every day, and a big win comes, you get discovered by a big TV producer, that's great. Good luck to you. But most of us won't get discovered. Most of us won't win the lottery. So what do most of us do? We need to keep taking steps every day towards our goal.
Yeah. When did you come to this realization that success is a staircase, not an elevator?
It was about 20 years ago, and it was said to me just in passing. I was saying to a business associate of mine, why aren't people buying my product? It's a great product. Why aren't they coming in through the door? And he said, just as an offhand comment, success is a staircase, mate, not an elevator. And I realized then that, I need to keep working every day to achieve that success. That's a much more realistic and possible way for me to get success rather than just waiting for the big win or the lotto win.
Yeah, because the thing here is that a lot of persons, they put off showing up because they feel that if they would get this eventually big thing that will just catapult them into the level they want to be, forgetting that you have to do what you can with what you have where you are.
Exactly. The showing up is a big thing. To me as a coder, that means coding something every day that gets me closer to improving my product or improving my product, getting me closer to providing the magic feature that everyone falls in love with and buys the thousands of dollars come in the door. But the fact is you have to code something every day. So, if you're an athlete, you got to train every day to get that big win at the Olympic Games. It's not just rocking up on the Olympic Games, it's rocking up for years before that, being ready to get your win.
Wow. So, success is a staircase, not an elevator. Since
right.
20 years ago, since you have had this realization that, success is a staircase, not an elevator, can you give us a contrast between the before and after of how you approached the things and the projects and the work that you did before and after the realization?
Yeah, so the main realization and the main wisdom that comes from that quote is that you sort of got to know why you're doing what you're doing, and you got to be working towards it. You can't just walk down the street hoping to be found. You've sort of got to know why. Why am I doing this? why am I grinding every day? But the fact is, you grind every day and you get that little bit more. So before I didn't have horse records. Now I've got a piece of software that's earning me money every week. Um, I'm helping. Not only am I earning money, which hey, that's why we're in Success 4, but also I'm helping horses which don't have agency. So I'm helping them get the best care they can from their horse owners, and I'm helping horse owners as well. Do better in the hobby that they love, and horse businesses. They have a requirement to look after their animals. So I guess before that, no money, no happy horses, no happy horse owners. Now, a bit more money, lots of happy horses, and lots of happy horse owners.
Yeah, I just want us to look at the work itself. How long did it take you to eventually get to a product that it was like, oh yeah, this is a product we can sell and take money for?
Yes, so I started coding in January 2019, and I wanted to launch in 2020, the middle of 2020, which was COVID, but there are a couple more features to add, and I launched in May 2021. So we'll be going just over 4 years now.
Oh, oh. Okay, that's about 5 years plus from the time it took from idea to concept, and now we
Yeah,
we have a working app.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it took a few years to code, and I improve it every year. Every month I'm doing something for it. Um, and yeah, people can just use the app or use the website to record their horse information. Just like vaccinations and farrier and dentistry and all of that. Everything you need to do to manage your horse that they can do on my app. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. When you s- we when we the first 3 years before first 2 years before you went to markets and to actually see what the public had to say in terms of um buying it.
Mm.
What was the process like? Right. Let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join, or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation. How did you get through two
Uh,
years? That's a long time.
it is a long time. So I had a day job. I was doing I had young kids back then. So they're a little bit older now. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I was sort of grabbing a few hours on weekends between farm commitments. I married into a horse family, and we've got 30 odd Australian stock horses here. So between farm chores and family commitments, I was putting in a few hours each week, which is why it took 2 years. But I had a few subject matter experts. My wife knows a lot about horses, and her mother, so my mother-in-law, knows a lot about horses, and they were giving me constant feedback. So I'd do a feature, say to them, what do you think? They'd come back with feedback, or I'd say, what do I need next? And they say, oh, you need to add this, like pedigree, which is like the mum and dad, grandparents of the horse. Pedigree is a big thing for horse owners. So, and that just went back and forth, and a few hours each week, just grinding it out one step at a time. And then, then I was ready sooner than I thought I'd be.
Yeah. I think the thing about success being a staircase is that if you're not focused on the stairs in front of you, right, while you're taking that journey, you'll trip and fall.
Yeah. Yeah. You,
And it translates to actual life. I know it's a an image, right?
mm,
It's an analogy, but it translates to actual life. If you're not focused on the thing you're working on, the next step right now, you'll trip and fall.
yeah, you've got to sort of, your goal, whatever it is, has got to give you a burn. It's got to fire you up. And to achieve that goal, you need to do something every day towards it. I'm talking, like, I'm not saying every single day, but I'm saying most days. You've got to be doing
Consistently.
something towards it. And then when the hard things happen and the bad things happen and you think you have a setback and stuff. It's that vision that you've got that keeps you coming out the day after and keep grinding. So yeah, it's basically a quote about persistence, and but also ignoring the fact that society teaches us you can win the lotto, you can go on a reality show and suddenly you're rich and famous. What they talk about is the person who finishes first, maybe the person who finishes second. They don't talk about the 20 other contestants or the 500 who applied to actually
Yeah.
get there. so, so you get that survivorship bias. You only tend to see in our world stories about people who've been found or won the lotto. They don't see the people quietly chipping away each and every day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because a lot of persons are so focused on the destination that it's taking them even a longer time to get to the where they need
Mm.
to go, and they don't even
Yeah.
know. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah, the grinding away is almost it's almost the journey. It's the journey that kind of matters. Um, I think in some ways, when you achieve your goal, whatever it is, I mean, what do you do the next day? You set another goal, don't you? I mean, yeah. So it's the journey that's important. So focusing on the journey, climbing up the stairs, rather than waiting for some external influence to suddenly elevate you, I think is a better strategy for success, and more attainable and more conservative and more likely to win for most people.
yeah. Okay, success is a staircase, not an elevator. Over the past 20 years, has there been an instance or a point in time where success felt like an elevator at that point in time? But in retrospect, looking back, it's
Yeah.
still a staircase, not an elevator.
Yeah, so I guess there's one story where I was, I just meet and talk to people about horse records and the software I've written. So if I see anyone that's got anything vaguely to do with horses, I'll talk about my software.
Yeah.
And one of those guys is a horse chiropractor. So humans have chiropractors, horses have chiropractors. And he said, "Oh, I know a guy named John who runs the retired racehorse program in my state, and I'll get you his number and you can give him a call." So I called John at Racing South Australia, which is the state I live in, and we met and had a chat. And now any retired racehorse that comes through my state gets a free setup in horse records. So that was a big win. I went from having a trickle of members to suddenly tens, 20 members a month from one or two a
Wow.
month.
Wow.
And that was right at the beginning. That was right at the beginning. Um, and that was a win. And then I went, well, I might call the other states around Australia and ask them. So I picked up one of the biggest horse racing states in Australia. So I do their horses as well. So that one chat of that constant grind and just talking to people and being friendly and saying what I'm doing resulted in a connection that gave me that big win, and I was happy to take it. Happy to. I'm not saying to anyone don't accept the big wins. You take the big wins, but you grind the next day.
Yeah. 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 Thank you so much, Andy. Well,
Thank you,
I
mate.
just want when you got that 20,000, that spike of users, right?
Mm.
It was in the context of this conversation, it was the app was becoming successful. What did it feel
Yes.
like? And what was the
Oh,
shift and unlock for you?
oh, mate, the rush you get when you get that first list of owners and their horses, and you got to enter them all in. Oh my God, that was great. I remember the first list was something like 300, and I had to manually enter in all the pedigrees. Say a pedigree's like, 16 horses, so one horse but 16 others, and there were 300 of the first horses. Oh, mate. And yeah, I didn't need coffee that night. I just went all night. I was so fired up and happy that I'd achieved that big win. Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't feel bad, shall I say. It felt really good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm happy for you, Andy.
Thank you, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, as someone who is in the trenches building something for 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 horse owners, right?
Mm,
What
yep.
advice do you have for someone else who wishes to build something or create something, whether it's software, whether it's arts, whether it's a podcast content, whatever
Yep.
it is?
Like my first business was a website design business, and that was in the early 2000s. And then in 2008, the GFC happened, and it there was a delayed effect in Australia. It took about a year, 18 months to hit us. And I remember logging on one day and not seeing any emails, nothing. I had tens of clients building websites and just no emails at all. I had no work. There was no work to do. And what had happened is all these customers, they had money, but websites were a secondary thing. They knew they could hold off on a website for a year, or
Yeah,
they thought they could. So my advice to business owners, and what would have saved me, is if I'd had regular maintenance contracts. So my advice to business owners is whatever your business is, do your best to get some sort of regular income where your customer doesn't necessarily have to think about it. So for software, it's subscriptions, which is what I'm doing with Horse Records, or it is maintenance contracts where you can buy a certain amount of my hours at a discounted rate each month. And then, what happens with when a GSC happens, those are still things people are paying for. But it also handles the fact that, for example, January is usually a pretty dead month to get paid. Accounts departments, it's after Christmas, they're on holiday.
yeah,
You don't have much cash flow usually in January. But if you've got those regular maintenance contracts coming through, whatever they are, maybe it's regularly updating someone's website or sending them out a gift box every month or whatever your product is, you're still getting paid when you have those natural dips in the economy and how people are paying. So yeah, get
yeah,
something regular, guys. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, thank you, Andy. It's been
Thank you,
such a
mate.
pleasure chatting with you, and I'm
Cheers.
glad we were able to have this conversation.
Yeah, and g'day to all your listeners. I hope you
Uh,
enjoyed it.
where where can my listeners learn more about you and what you do, including the app?
Yeah, cool. So my domain name is horserecords.info. So no hyphen, just all one word, horserecords.info. That's me. And then you can go on contact and you can find my blog there as well. Yeah, Horse Records is my main product, which is for horse owners, all breeds, all disciplines.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. You've been listening to Relatable Wisdom, and I've been your host, Wisdom Okonkwo. You've been listening to the podcast where every story, quote, and insight helps you see life a little differently. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the show on your favorite podcast app and share it with someone who loved the conversation. For more inspiring voices and timeless wisdom, visit relatablewisdom.com. Until next time, keep living, learning, and collecting wisdom that matters most to you.